Welcome to Dark Side Adventures, an 18 and older, not safe for work podcast where we explore the dark side of sex, the world of kink, fetish, and BDSM lifestyle. Oh my God, welcome back. Oh man.
Yes.
Coco, we're doing it. We finally made it. Episode 20, guys.
What?
Oh man, this is like, it's a big deal, and not at the same team,
deal.
but like it is a big deal. Like, we made it 20 episodes, recording using like our voice, like spent hours in this thing. Like, now you really see how many hours like we put in up front versus like the hours in the back. Like,
yes, it's all coming to fruition.
I know, it's crazy. It started off as a dark night event or a drunk night adventure.
Drunk night adventure, yes it did. Yes it did.
To Dark Side Adventures, man. Let me go ahead and start correct, man. Welcome everybody. We are your hosts. I am Edwin.
I'm Coco.
And welcome back to Dark Side Adventures.
Episode 20.
Yes, big 2-0. Oh man, we're still going for the 24 hours of kink, so definitely that should actually be here pretty soon.
Yes,
so,
it will.
Man, I was actually gonna say we might have to just like finish out the 24 hours before we actually start getting into like the kinks, because I know we were talking about that too, so that actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
But no, there's more things to come, guys. Like, welcome. We
lots of good things.
Yeah, for real. Like, I'm excited for everything that's going on, and more things to come. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and hand this one over to Coco, because Coco's actually got the special day today.
Yes. So Edwin, this one's close to my heart. I just want to wish you a very, very happy National Animal Cracker Day.
Yes. Oh my God, whole animal circus.
Yes.
Oh,
you have like the regular ones and the frosted ones, and they're both delicious.
Yeah,
not as good as Oreos, but they're still delicious.
Oh, true. I used to get jealous of the kids that used to bring in like the frosted animal crackers. Yes. I was like, all right, asshole. The teacher only gave us like the regular plain ones. They're coming in with the shit all frosted with sprinkles and shit.
Yes.
Like
pink and white ones, and you're like,
yeah. I knew what y'all were doing, but man, like, happy Animal Cracker Day. Like, man, I got so many fond memories of like animal crackers from like daycare days to like fucking being in school and catching animal crackers. And man, no, that was a good one. I see why you wanted to wait for that one.
I told you. My favorite we used to do. There is a mosquito in my house. There's a mosquito in my house. It's too cold to have mosquitoes.
Oh my God. Wait, is it a mosquito or like a mosquito hawk?
No, it's a mosquito.
Go ahead, kill that motherfucker.
It's coming closer, and then I'll get it. It's over there.
Just don't hit your
microphone.
Close enough.
Yeah, that. Well, see, I'm pretty sure if I stood up and tried to get it, I'd like tilt and tip the whole table, and ice cream and cookies and tater tots and water, and my laptop would go flying. So we'll wait till it comes closer.
We know the most important thing on there is the tater tots and the ice cream, I guess, technically,
and the
too.
Oreos.
The Oreos you can still pick up. Everything else is just going to be like,
True.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you saw how fast this ice cream dyed my tongue. Can you imagine it dyeing my carpet? I would never get it out.
Oh,
never.
Man. No amount of like Clorox, was it Fabuloso, and a few other things. It's going to take a while before you get that bad boy out.
My carpet's white and gray. It's never going to come out.
It's like, it'll be like an off-white stain. Maybe it'll like blend the carpets together.
No, not pretty. Okay. Anyways, my favorite memory about animal cookies is my mom we did get like regular animal crackers, and then we would put actual frosting on them and like dip it in there like a ghetto Dunkaroos.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh my! I forgot about Dunkaroos.
Yes.
Oh man, like that was
Did
a big
you know
thing.
those are still a thing. You can still get them.
I didn't even know. Some candy I'm surprised they still make. I'm like, is this stuff even still legal? Is this real food? Like, you, you have to start questioning it. Like the shit you ate as a kid versus the shit you eat now. Like you start looking back, you're like, oh my god, it's just a bunch of sugar.
It's pretty similar for me. Let's be honest here.
Oh man, it reminds me of like those like Kool-Aid drinks that were like in the little pack that you like twist on the top. Yeah, when you were a kid, them shits were fire.
Yes, they were.
And then you know what? You grew up and now you like drink it. You're like, oh my god, this shit is just straight like sweetener,
straight sugar.
Yeah,
sugar and Red 40. Man, although that smell is like nostalgic. We did a reset in the juice aisle a couple weeks ago, and probably about a month ago now. And like as I was moving, I was like, oh, I remember this smell, even in the plastic. It was crazy. It brought back tons of memories.
Let you reminisce a little bit.
It sure did.
Oh man. Well, what's been going on with you, young lady? Like, I feel like I just talked to you, but I mean, kind of not really.
A little bit. You know, this is only recording number 3 in 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
But I feel like I did nothing today, but at the same time I did a whole lot. I actually packed down my big backpack with about 25-ish pounds and went for a 3-mile hike.
Okay. It was putting in work.
Yeah, it was the first time that I've like actually hiked with it with like my bag with weight in it. So it definitely sat differently. Found out I need a different hip belt, which is actually a pretty common thing. It's not small enough to fit my hips. So we'll give me a new hip belt and life will be good.
Good.
And then other than that, I spent the day cooking. So
we could tell from the burgers and tater tots.
Yes. I also made lunch for the whole week. So
dang.
Most of the week. I have like 4 containers of food.
I was about to say I can only handle food after like 3 or 4, 3, maybe 4 days. 4 days is like the max, but chicken starts getting slimy, shit just starts to smell weird. Like,
yeah. So what about you? What have you been doing today with
my free time? Well, just kind of overall, like it's just been just like a standard week. I mean, work is work. Obviously, like you roll with the punches there. Honestly, like no new projects in the works, just making sure everything runs smoothly, everything that I got right now. My cousin, like I was kind of like, I wouldn't say I was like feeling overwhelmed to a point, but like I was talking with my cousin and he was like, you just have to, in order to see any progression, you just have to like start taking control of what you can control and then just like starting there. So those words hit me pretty hard, which was nice because that's something that I definitely needed. So I definitely started today. I chopped the bush, as I'm sure you can see. So just little things like that. Yeah, I was about to like let that thing grow out. I really wanted to because I wanted the fluff back here, but now I'm just gonna keep it as manly as possible. And
you could have rocked it. That's so manly.
I could have rocked it, but man, my hair would have been in shambles for like 2 to 3 years. It would just been like, okay, you have this mop on your head, for a little bit until it actually like, you're able to flare out really and do some stuff with it. Yeah. So, it's just little things at a time. I need to actually start like, I needed what are they called? A planner. I need one of those.
Yes.
Like, I mean, obviously, like, the Google Drive or our Google account has one, but I need one to actually like be written because obviously like, scribing is everything. So
yes. I have 3 planners that I write in. So I totally get it. And I just got a new one to add to that. So
yeah. I need to, every time I'm at the store, I'm like, all right, buy a planner. I'll roll through the store and I'll get all the necessities and just completely forget the planner. I'm like, oh, great. So so I need one of those. I mean, I usually remember things pretty well, but it's just like those 1 or 2 things that you forget, you kind of like, kill yourself for. So exactly. Yeah, that type of thing. Other than that, guys, we just kind of rolling with the punches. We taking it day by day. And, obviously, like I said, last time we're just kind of building the airplane while we fly it. So that's all I'm looking forward to. Yes. But overall, like, in the show we've kind of covered a lot. I mean, last time, like I said, we covered a lot of the fundamentals, like even just like learning how to be social, learning how to talk to people, things to look out for, ways that BDSM can be a blessing and ways that BDSM can be a curse. And just other things that go into the mentality of it. But this one kind of goes along with the same, I feel like, the same mood, or sort of like the same energy as the like subspace and sub drop episode that we did, where we're kind of diving into realistically the mentality, because you're taking away senses more than anything else. So today we're talking about sensory deprivation.
Yes.
So
this one's definitely, even though you're using toys and stuff, to me this one's definitely a headspace one. You definitely get into your headspace playing this way, and it can be lots of fun.
It can be lots of fun. I mean, with everything, of course, you can take it in moderation. Sometimes you could take it too far, but this one I feel like everybody sort of starts with, or everybody starts with some form of sensory deprivation without knowing. That you just don't know what to call it while you're doing it. Just same thing. So little things like, whenever we're doing any type of like rope play, that's a form of bondage, or what they would consider restriction, which is a sensory deprivation. You're getting rid of a sense. Or in other cases, you'll see a lot of, even in like movies nowadays and things like that, you'll see other things where, I guess, well, actually, let me stop. We're just going to start with a topic and we're going to go from there.
I guess we should probably start by explaining, although sensory deprivation to me makes a lot of sense and it seems pretty self-explanatory. Let's talk about what it really is. It's where you limit the use of one or more of your senses, such as your sight or your hearing or your movement or even your sense of feeling, like feeling sensory things on your skin. They can be played with that, and that leads to your other senses being incredibly sharpened, and it can be super tantalizing and exciting and sexy, and it makes you focus more on the other things.
It's almost like taking one away to heighten the others.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I like this one because you can go to the store and you can spend tons of money on things for this, but you also don't really need to buy anything or create anything fancy or have any props to do this. You can do it pretty low key.
Pretty cheap.
So, like I said, so sight deprivation is a very, very common one. I think most vanilla people do it. Personally, that's just my opinion. I have no proof to back that up. But I think most people do it putting a blindfold or a scarf or a sleep mask or even just turning off the lights can be sensory deprivation. And when you can't see something, you have to rely on your sense of touch and your sound and your sense of hearing and even your sense of taste to be able to experience everything else more.
I mean, you can do little experiments with that as well. Like, if you ever, let me be politically correct here. I don't mean this in any form of disrespect. I'm just going to start by saying that there. Like little things, like if you ever wondered what a blind person kind of, has to do with, literally just turn off the lights in your room and make everything pitch black, and then kind of try and, feel for things, listen to things. Like you'll start to notice little things like, okay, well, I'm starting to hear this better, or I can hear things that I didn't hear before. Obviously because you're heightening those other senses as well. But it's, turning off the lights is one of them. What's the other one as well? Oh man, I had like 5 or so examples in my head. Oh goodness. But that, go ahead.
I was just going to say sight deprivation is lots of fun to play with like with sensory play. So if you put a blindfold on or you turn the lights off or whatever, and then your partner starts like, okay, tell me what toy this is, and they start using a Wartenberg wheel or a feather or scrapey feelings or tickling or things like that, it can really heighten the feeling of those items.
Agreed. I mean, and then there's also other ones as well where, we'll give you your sight back and now we're actually going to take away your hearing. So there's sound play, or, basically sound deprivation. I guess we kind of all do that whenever we put in put in headphones. It's kind of sort of the same thing. Or, putting those, what are they called? The little things that go in your ear, that stop the sound.
Like an earplug?
Yeah, earplug. Thank you.
I was like, isn't that a common word? Never mind. Yeah. I mean, some, it can sound like an unsexy idea, like just block your ears, like, but like it can be really sexy. Like you can like watching your partner like moan and groan and not being able to hear them, or I've done an impact scene where I had headphones in and all I could hear was the music. So I couldn't anticipate each of the strikes. And that really heightened that. Sometimes I can't get out of my head in a scene. And so putting headphones in can help. Or it gives you more... It makes you focus, again, like all sensory deprivation play, it makes you focus on your other senses.
And vice versa with that too. Like you'd be surprised, a lot of like what you perceive is almost like auditory sometimes too. So like some people, they won't actually watch porn. Some people, they listen to porn, or whenever it's like, audiobooks and stuff like that, like, things like that kind of, you can be turned on by just, listening to something, or, if you take it away and all you're seeing is, what you're seeing, like she said, it helps kind of like break up the known consistency, if you will. So
absolutely. Another thing you can do is, if you want to like really play with it, is do like a double sensory restriction. Put the blindfolds on and earplugs in. And then that like brings your sensations down, like you've restricted even more sensory things. So you're relying on even less of your senses to give you the same amount. And it can go really crazy. You can, like I said, if you want to go cheap, you can do a blindfold and earplugs. Or if you want to spend stuff, you can get hoods that will cover like your entire head, and it'll muffle out all of the sound and cover your entire face. You can get like specialty blindfolds. You can get all sorts of toys to play with that sensory deprivation.
Little things like, there's belts, there's ties, there's just like a bunch of things at home. You can use like your sweater. Sweaters are like the best ones, in my honest opinion.
With that, the long sleeves. Yes.
Yep. And then actually kind of a recent one, like how they have those, like, they're not really masks. I forgot like the name for them, but they go around your neck. You know what I mean? The ones that you basically like pull up.
The buff.
Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
Buffs. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's like a tube of cloth.
Yeah, I have two of those. So they are wonderful for masks, because you just pull them up, but you would be surprised if you actually got an all black one and then you kind of fold it in half and then you put it over your eyes. It is actually a perfect blindfold, and it's fully, you won't be able to see through it. It covers your face and it's extremely comfortable.
Yes.
So
those have the benefit of being on the softer side too.
Yeah, true. But something like that where you can almost use like everyday objects that you have to kind of do forms of sensory deprivation. So just kind of start with something and see if it works for you. some people like it, some people won't, but I think everybody likes some form of it.
Exactly. If you do double sensory restriction, be very careful. Sometimes it can feel very isolating, especially if you do sight and sound. It can feel very isolating, and you can get really detached and kind of have like an out of body experience where you can't come back in.
Yep.
So just make sure that you're checking in with your partner at that point, especially if they're claustrophobic. That can send a spiral. They think they're okay, and then all of a sudden they ain't, and you're freaking out. So that's just a topic or a point there. Double sensory. While sight and sound typically are the most commonly done, there are others, such as like speech and sound restriction. You can do this by just telling your partner that they can't make a sound. You can do this with gags. One thing on gags is, especially with like a ball gag or like a bigger gag in their mouth, where it's harder for them to breathe. Yes, they still can breathe, but the ones that really make you drool, if you have them wearing that and then laying on their back, it's really, really hard to swallow all of that drool. So you can kind of like, your partner can kind of gag on it. So make sure you're either they're on their back for just a short amount of time, or they're able to kind of turn their head and let it drool out, or they're facing with their face, like their head down so the drool can come out. Just a note on that.
And just to kind of I guess it's kind of going off on just speed restriction or speech restriction. That's not speed. Nobody's racing here. Yeah. So speech restriction, like in the article, it's basically saying like, relinquish, basically it's great for people who relish being, submissive. It's a challenge for those to sit back and just kind of like, let things happen without saying anything.
Yes,
but with that too, I feel like every day we all have some form of speech restriction without knowing. It's not really restricted. It's just that it happens without you knowing, aka people who come in and they speak a different language from you. That type of thing. But I guess in this form of case, it's literally, not saying anything. You're just basically going off of, you're either taking the direction without being able to, say your piece, or you're challenging yourself. And this is kind of something that maybe go along with the last one, where it's like, well, actually it's for like maybe training and mentorship, but having a partner who literally for the next couple hours, they don't say anything. You literally have to figure it out by just gestures or, pointing or something like that. So it's almost cool from like a learning perspective too, because now you're having to use their other senses or looking at things differently in order to read what you need, or read what you need to read and then do what you need to do. So
exactly. And I really like, so one of the article that we have is written by a therapist, and the paragraph in here, it says, one way is to simply agree that there will be no talking from one or even both of you.
Ooh.
An exercise they suggest that it really builds intimacy. They say it's called sensate focus. So without speaking, each person takes it in turn to explore their partner's naked body. At first, they miss out on erogenous zones. Then, after a few weeks, they tend to include these. Neither one talks unless there's discomfort. But by not directing the action, the person being touched is invited to turn off their critical voice and be more in the moment. They're tuning into their partner's hands and their intentions. And meanwhile, the toucher's encouraged to really focus on how their partner's skin feels rather than really worrying about the other's pleasure. So that can really, really help you get in tune with your partner, because again, if you're not worrying about if the other person is going to be critical to you and critique you, then you can really spend your time focusing on things and exploring. Another one on that note, before we move on, if you are going to use a gag and they are going to be come nonverbal, that means they're not able to speak their safe word. So make sure you get a safe signal. Give them something they can hold on to and drop. Have them drop a bell. Have them throw a rock. Have them do something, so you know that it's them calling their safe word. So I know this is one of Edwin's favorites.
Oh man, movement restriction.
Yes.
There's so many forms of that and many ways that you can do it on the cheap too.
Yes.
Basically movement restriction is basically stopping either the body from moving or maybe a specific part from being able to move. Obviously people know that, I do rope play. That's one of my favorites. And rope play is, obviously bondage, and bondage is a form of movement restriction. So my whole goal is not to hurt the person or put anybody in a truly, discomforting position, unless they like that sort of thing. But
Depends on
it's
the
to,
person.
yeah, exactly. But it is definitely to bound the person or restrict, movement. Obviously it's for their pleasure because they like it, but or in certain ties, I have to stop maybe like, the arm from moving or something. So maybe I'll tie the arms behind the back. So in that way, it's to expose the chest, or, maybe I'll let the arms go and I'll just, bound the, body really well, kind of like one of the old ties I did on Coco, where I did her top, but also around like her torso. I did it was almost like a corset or a rope corset, so that type of thing. And a lot of times, like, most submissives, they do just like wearing it anyway. They hate it when you take it off, which is kind of weird, but
it's super comforting to me. Like it's a sense of calm. It is, I love the tight feeling of it, the sense of being held, and also just knowing that, because when I play with rope, I play with somebody who I trust. And so the sense of knowing that, yes, I have given up this movement, but it's to somebody I trust to take care of me and who I know will move me if I need to be moved. So it gives me the option to check out without actually checking out. It gives me the option of giving up the control of moving.
That's true. And just side note, real quick, I'm currently on rope probation. I put myself on rope probation only for two reasons. One, I need new rope, and two, I need to buy a new knife. Remember, safety first. You cannot. Yeah, you need some type of safety first. So I plan on buying a knife here soon, and then more rope to come, and maybe I'll do an episode, or we'll do like a little mini episode where I kind of show all of the cool stuff.
Yes.
So I have a lot of ideas. So back on topic, of course, but movement restriction comes in other ways, not just with rope as well. You can have movement restrictions where you're telling your partner, "Hey, you sit down in this chair or something, and you can't get up. No matter what I do to you, in the chair." So
or put your hands on the pillow and don't move.
Yeah, put your hands on the pillow and don't move. That type of thing. But there's other ways that you can do movement restriction, and there's I want to say DIY, but there's realistically other cheap ways where you can do it as well. Ties, if you have old ties, they're perfect for doing handcuff stuff like that. If you have shoestrings, any type of like rope in the house, perfect for it.
Plastic wrap is another really big one. People will do what's called mummification with plastic wrap. One note on that is it's not breathable, so just be careful because they're going to sweat a lot more. Just be aware of that. But people will plastic wrap their legs or their arms or their entire body and leave out one specific part, which makes that part which is exposed a lot more sensitive.
Yep. Duct tape, man, like the list is long for other movement restrictions as well. So
if you really enjoy it and you feel like spending money on it, you can do what's called a Vac Bed. Basically it's like a vacuum and you're under like clingy rubberized spandex latexy fabric type stuff. And like they just suck all of the air out. I was at a dungeon once, and I was at Shrine. So Edwin, you definitely need to go to Shrine. But there was a couple who had a Vac Bed, and they were letting people experience. They could sign up and be in the Vac Bed to experience it. I chose not to because it looked very, very intimidating, and it was I had also hadn't negotiated any sort of playing with masters. So, but it was very interesting to watch. You could, they also did like a demonstration scene, the couple themselves, and the submissive was in there, and he's like, you can, they were showing different ways you could keep specific certain body parts out, or to like expose them to make them more sensitive. How you could do like complete sensory deprivation, put them in there where they can't feel anything, they can't see anything, and stick headphones on them. You can like there's a lot of ways to do it. So if that's something you really like, if you really enjoy the movement restriction, and like I think I would have really enjoyed it because I love like all the weight on me where I can't move. But that's something you can definitely look into it. They are just sometimes a bit pricey.
You can I don't know if I should be sharing this one, but you can make a quote unquote a one on a budget. Take an extra large. Well, you can actually try this at home too. Go to Home Depot, of course, the best sex store that there is. Thank you, Home Depot. Get you an extra large leaf, or the bags that you use to pick up leaves, or whenever you rake leaves, those black bags. An extra large bag,
a compactor bag.
Yep. Go home, sit inside of the bag, obviously with like your head out, and take the vacuum hose and literally just vacuum suck yourself, and you'll get, I mean, it's obviously not like the full experience, but then you kind of have an idea for it. So you can also do a bunch of fun things with it as well. So just kind of play around with it and see what works for you. But the point is there's ways to do it without fully doing it.
Yes, there's ways to do it without putting all of the money in it, especially when you're still trying to figure it out. Another one that people really like is body bags. You could buy them online, but yeah, you get your body bag, you zip somebody up in there, you can play all sorts of sensory deprivation. You can cover their mouth, you can do whatever you want to them while they're in there, basically. A note on all of this: when you are negotiating to play, you ask that person where their scissors and or knife is. You ask them, if something breaks, how the fuck are you getting me out of here? You can choose to swear or not.
That's optional.
That part is optional. The rest of the question is not. If something breaks, if something malfunctions, if I freak out, how are you getting me out of here? Because if somebody is not willing to, if something breaks, or if you are in bondage and there's no quick way to get you out other than cutting it, if somebody's not prepared to do that, then you don't want to play with them.
Yep.
Whether they have medical scissors, whether they have a knife, I don't care. I don't care what it is they use, but they need to be willing. At that point, they need to be willing to basically ruin their stuff to be able to get you out. Does it suck because they spent money on that? Yeah, but if it's broken because the zipper isn't moving, if you have totally freaked out and your circulation has been cut off and your hands are now purple and you've done damage in rope and they aren't willing to cut you out, they're like, it's fine, I can just untie you. But that tie took 30 minutes to put you in there. It's going to take some time to get you out of it as well.
Yep.
So they need to be willing to and ready to have a knife or scissor to get you out of that if something, heaven forbid, were to go wrong.
I mean, I'll agree with that. And I mean, for, obviously like the top or whoever is doing the deed, I mean, in this case, I'm just kind of using rope as an example. Like it sucks to have to like, cut your toy or whatever it is, trust me, we all hate losing rope, but look, like safety is non-negotiable. Safety,
somebody's life
exactly
is way more important, and somebody's safety is way more important than that rope or that body bag or that vacuum bag or whatever it is you put in there.
Yep. Just go ahead and cut it, and then that may be a loss, but the loss could have been way worse.
Yeah.
The loss could have been way worse. So
exactly.
time. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say moving on, so I will let you move on.
I was just gonna say this was time and space deprivation. Um, this one kind of goes different ways too. Some people they do like a different type of scenes where they'll tie the person up and sometimes they'll just sit and make them wait. They never know what's about to happen next. That's a time and space. More of a vanilla one. Whenever you go to like a club or like a dinner type thing, whenever you're spending a couple hours in there, you realistically don't have any time of space on basically what's going on, unless you have obviously like a watch on, or if the time is going, then you kind of can tell. But half the time you lose track of time, and people say it all the time. So it's just kind of another vanilla way. But
it's why there's no windows in casinos,
right?
Another one is, this one's really popular in CNC and kidnapping scenes and fantasies, is where you're blindfolded and driven around. You don't know where they're going. You don't know what turns they're taking. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's very sexy to them. So the article suggests you can also, if you want to make it kind of fun, just kind of as like a funny one, is to blindfold somebody and then spin them. Just kind of like at the beginning of Blind Man's Bluff. So that can definitely disorient you, and it can be kind of fun. I remember vanilla, me and my family would go to parks, and especially if they had a tire swing, we would spin that sucker over and over and over again and just let it rip, and you would spin like freaking crazy, and then we would like, hey, get off the tire swing and walk to that bench, and we would laugh at them because it was funny. Most of the time we fell over. So
oh god, I couldn't be blindfolded and then like be spun around, and all of a sudden it's like I end up on the floor and I'm like, what the where am I?
Where am I? Yes. So but you can do that in a scene too. Like you can just spin them and be like, okay, find this, and just watch them waddle over and stumble all over, because I mean sometimes scenes are just to laugh at each other and to have fun. So sometimes they're more intense. Another sensory deprivation, and I think this one out of all of them is the most misunderstood and the one that's done the least correct.
Most dangerous.
It is definitely the most dangerous. This one's erotic asphyxiation or breath play. A lot of people do it. They like choking. They like the feeling of your breath shutting off and like having somebody else in control of that is incredibly erotic. And it's actually like the use of it has increased in porn. So it's pretty popular. So there are different ways to do it. None of them involve just crushing your trachea. That is bad. That's a no-go. That's painful. That's not erotic. That's not okay. So one is you can actually just cut off the blood flow going to somebody's head or slow it down significantly. So yes, they can still breathe, but they get that lightheaded feeling anyways. That one all of these need to be careful on how long you do it, because it can cause issues. The other one is you can, basically you're doing a chokehold and it does cut off the air. But again, it's not crushing the windpipe. It's not crushing your trachea. It's very delicately done. So erotic asphyxiation can be really, really erotic and sexy. So basically it's like a partial strangulation, but it can, the risks of it is is definitely up to you to weigh. But it can definitely increase all of the other senses. You're hyper focused on everything else, and it can increase your orgasms. It can like it's amazing. I love it. I'll just put it that way. But this is a very dangerous one to play with if you haven't thoroughly researched it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that 100%. It's one that, like, obviously, like, I enjoy choking, the choking fun, but there's certain ways I won't take it too far. Like, breath play is one thing to just kind of, like, do for a scene, like, not for me necessarily, not all the time. But there's a point where I know I won't take it that far because I feel I can't trust myself in order to have that kind of effectiveness. I feel like, for like a full, breath play scene. But I'll definitely do a little bit, obviously, like in bed, or do it for like fun or whatever. Sometimes stick your fingers or your hand in their mouth and kind of give them like a little choke or whatever it is. But things like that, especially when you're playing with somebody's air supply, like that's one of those like necessities. So you have to be very, very careful.
Their life is literally in your hand at that point.
Yep.
Another way to do it, that's gaining more popularity but isn't as mainstream, is waterboarding.
Mm-hmm.
You can do waterboarding different ways. You can put cloth over your face and just pour water over your face. You can dunk in like a bathtub. You can
bobbing for apples.
There's lots of ways to do it. Again, lots of fun. The other thing to be aware of, if you are going to play with breath play and water, is if they inhale too much water. I got the mosquito. Okay, sorry. So if they, even after the scene, you want to be kind of cautious of them, because you can drown after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
You can be perfectly okay after the scene, like seemingly okay, and then there is risk of water in your lungs and it can slowly drown you.
Yep.
So just be aware of how much water they're inhaling.
Yep.
On that.
Be careful. You never know.
Yes. And then we just have some other ideas to kind of help you add and play with the sensations. Add to the scene, I guess.
Add to the arsenal.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Please.
I was just gonna say, once you've sufficiently deprived them of one or two sensations or more, you can then, and it's heightened to the other ones, you can then, like I said before, play with the sensations and kind of tease the fuck out of them. There's different ways. Yeah.
Many. I mean, especially with, I guess for this first one, it's the hot and cold premise. You can do this in many ways. Obviously, like everybody does it. Actually, the vanilla way of doing it without even knowing it is whenever you're taking cold water and you're putting it, like, you put it on the back of your neck, or, you put it on top of your head. That's more of I feel like a vanilla way of doing it without noticing it. But the other way to do it is, taking an ice cube and having your partner, just kind of lay there, and then you just kind of, running the ice cube either along parts of their body, or letting the droplets drip in different parts of their body. So that way they're getting the overall sensation. So you can, at some point, if you're doing it right, you can feel their whole body as well start to like change temperature. So it's kind of a really cool thing to play with. On top of that, like some sex toys, glass in particular, it's really good for holding heat, and also any form of ice or any cold temperatures as well. So you can do it that way with warm sensations or cold sensations, just kind of whatever you're feeling into. Obviously, if you're I would say being a little bit more loving, you do the warmer sensations, but if you're trying to prove a point, the colder ones definitely the cold ones definitely prove the point.
Well, you can always do both. So you can go from one sensation to the other. You can run ice cubes all around. You can hold an ice cube over their nipple and then take it off and use your tongue on it, because now your tongue is all warm and hot. And you can do that all over. You can do it the opposite way. You can put the ice cube in your mouth, and then you get a warm mouth and a cold tongue. And so yeah, you can definitely do that. There's an article that suggests that you sip a hot drink before oral sex. Be very careful not to burn them.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, another fun sensation play, which is amazing, is wax play. I know we have talked about it before. We've mentioned it a few times.
And things not to do. Yes. I can vouch for that.
Yes, but I will 100% tell you, it is definitely a sensation. A good one. For me, it's definitely brings an out of body, out of mind sub drop that's way different than impact. It's so some things to know about wax play is that different waxes melt at different burning points.
Yep.
So soy, beeswax, paraffin, all sorts of ones. There's specific wax candles for BDSM and for kink. And for your first time, I would really suggest actually paying the money for them.
Yep. Invest in it.
Yes, this is definitely one I'm gonna suggest you don't go cheap on the first time. Especially if you go to Walmart and just buy a candle from off the shelves, get you a Yankee candle. That's the different colors burn hot, fragrances change the heat temperature. So that can definitely, if done wrong, will definitely burn in a bad way.
Yep.
So true BDSM wax will, yes, it's hot, but it's like stepping into a hot tub. It doesn't burn. And if you want to play with how hot it is as it drops, you can lower the handle closer to your skin. You can pull it further away. So something like that. Let's see what else.
There is aroma, basically smells, which there was a question that Coco had asked me. It was like, what type of things put you into dom space? And I remember saying that, wearing a specific type of cologne or just any cologne that I would feel would be, things that I smell and I'm like, damn, I smell good. You know what I mean? So things like that where aromas can actually, increase or just kind of bring out a specific mood or, bring out different, or as in this case, it says pheromones by having the smell, obviously like on your chest or armpits or, there's different scents that can help as well. Not even just like cologne in my case, but, rose, citrus, mint, vanilla, everybody kind of has their right. Everybody kind of has.
I'm not a vanilla person.
Oh man, I enjoy vanilla, but I don't enjoy vanilla as a candle. Vanilla is more of a taste than it is a smell, exactly. In my opinion.
Exactly.
But it just the aromas do things to different people. That's why you see different people have like those little incense burners, or they got different candles through their house, or they got the little wick, plug-in wicks type thing. So obviously like it does different things. Some people just like their house smelling good, period. But obviously it does things to other people.
Exactly. You can also do, we kind of talked about before, you can put music on, whether you're putting earbuds in their ears to play music or you're just going to put it on in the background. Music can definitely set the tone.
Mm-hmm. A little weekend. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Oh,
get Lord. You some pony.
Oh Lord. That's a little bit more than pony. That's and touch. Touch is a different one. So like different obviously like different feels, I would say, changes things. So in this case, it's saying, whether you're plump for the purpose built items like, vibrators, pinwheels, floggers, or other, stranger items like, toothbrushes, silk scarves, feathers. You could tickle, spank, nibble, kiss, or obviously like, lick, which some of us like to do as well. But you can touch in different ways. So sometimes it's directly and sometimes it's indirectly, as you could tell.
Exactly. And then the last one we're just going to touch on is taste. Food and sex have been long linked together.
Yep.
It's good for some people, it's not for others. I am definitely not a fan of food and sex together. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. But a lot of people really like it. You can hand feed your partner food. You can play with the Cool Whip and chocolate sauce. You can do any of that. Pick out their favorite flavors, pick out their favorite food. You could make them a tray. You can make their body the plate. Like you can do lots of stuff with it.
And there's other things as well. Obviously there's flavored lube, flavored condoms, so you can change the taste of obviously like different things that you want to change. But that's, I mean, to me, taste is taste. I mean, I'd just rather take the human as is, obviously out the shower, but take it as is.
So, but yeah, that's kind of what we've got. Do you have any last remarks, Edwin?
Oh man, for this one, actually, yeah, like this is kind of where we start stepping into, I feel like the deeper parts of BDSM. Just because, like I said, we covered the foundations, and now we're trying to get you over the wall, and this is kind of the wall that we're trying to get you over right now. But sensory deprivation, like I said, we were talking about movement restriction, aka bondage, which you'll hear a lot here. What else? Like talking, we talk a lot about communication, so that kind of falls into the same realm. So everything kind of falls into the same categories. It's just you have to know the terminology, which we talked about as well. And once you know the terminology, you can kind of start basing your wants and needs off of that. So just get to know whatever it is that you like, and just be safe about it. That's the biggest thing, or the biggest takeaway for this.
Exactly. Sensation play and sensory deprivation is lots of fun, and it's when you don't really need a partner to experience. You can do it on your own. You can put a blindfold on and play with sensations on your body. You can put music on. You can do wax play on your own. You can do a lot of this on your own and find out what you like. So don't be afraid to experiment.
Very true. Man, I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah. So, well, guys, like
episode 20, it's in the bag.
It's finally in the bag. We got obviously like 4 more episodes until we hit the 24-hour mark. So then maybe we'll have to go get like a bottle of champagne and do a celebration. Boop. Yeah, a little pop. Yes. Guys, like, thank you guys for obviously like joining in, man. It's been all the way from episode 1 to episode 20. So hopefully, obviously, we'll have more stuff for you guys coming soon. And I'm gonna get really excited whenever we actually get into the kinks, because I feel like kinks. Yeah, right. I'm getting excited. Like I can't wait to start talking about rope and stuff, because at that point I'll be doing some research myself too. Because as much as I know, I at least want to make sure I get the terminology right too. So
it's always different to share what you know. It's intimidating to share what you know when it's like, this is my kink, I should know this. So, but I'm so excited. You're gonna be so good at it.
Girl, me too. Don't worry, we gonna get the impact play.
I know.
You're gonna have a mouthful after that. So, but and a couple shameless plugs here. Man, guys, if you need to find us, man, we're literally everywhere. Literally, you can just go to Google at this point and type in DarkSideAdventures. But we're DarkSideAdventures on Twitter. If you just want to at us or retweet anything, man, we're on Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud. We gotta get some cleanup on YouTube, but we're also on Reddit as well, guys. So y'all can reach us everywhere, man. And if you have any topics, concerns, you want to reach out to somebody, you want to ask us any questions, hell, if you want to be on the show, you guys can get us at our DarkSideAdventures@gmail.com. And man, am I missing anything, Coco?
No, I think you hit it all.
Oh man, thankfully.
Yeah, feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, any interaction is a good interaction for us. Definitely helps us get the word out.
And TikTok coming soon.
Yes. Woohoo. Hopefully by the time we post this, there will be a TikTok. So
right.
More information to come on that.
Very true. Well, on that note, man, we are your hosts. I am Edwin.
I am Coco.
And we are gone today. Thank you guys, and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Adios.
Bye.